question, the big question that we have is the performance of different forms of real estate investments. Donc, juste pour donner un aperçu de c'est quoi vraiment un real estate investment. Un real estate investment, c'est un bien immobilier, pas nécessairement tangible, qu'on achète pour faire un income, to generate an income, to make a profit out of it. Donc, nous avons nos maisons traditionnelles, nos appartements, les duplex. À Eben, on peut voir beaucoup les bâtiments commerciaux, les office space surtout. Nous avons aussi nos industrial buildings et aussi nos retail comme Bagatelle, nos petits shops qu'on voit à travers Maurice. Et on a aussi le intangible asset, les différentes formes de intangible asset. L'une de ces formes, c'est le REIT, le Real Estate Investment Trust, où justement, c'est des compagnies qui investissent dans le real estate, qui louent les investissements qu'ils ont fait. Et aussi, à ce moment-là, vous pouvez acheter des shares dans la compagnie pour faire un profit, pour faire un income dessus. Kentish, when we talk about performance of the different form of real estate investment, what are the factors that we have to consider when looking at real estate investments, and what changes can we expect to see in the future?
I think we should start by understanding the forms of real estate itself. It could be in two types. First, it can be like a purchase of a tangible asset. You see it, you touch it, you buy a house, you buy a plot of land. And it can be in form of shares, like you mentioned it correctly, great. Investing in property funds. These are indirect investment in property, though you're investing in property. It's not tangible as you buy a house. The common ways investors resort to measure performance is normally property indices. And we had a chat on that the other day, that in Mauritius, we have all the ingredients to make a property index. For what reason this is not happening, I won't comment on that now, and I hope it comes. So I think we need to just a brief of what is an index, indices, for example. Real estate indices provide a somewhat reliable way to measure the growth that has come in an investor's way. And real estate indices use the property index of a given year as being 100. So these prices are then assessed. You should not forget that it's a very dynamic process. Dynamic in the sense that you have regular transcriptions, you have regular sales, and these transcriptions and sales defining how these properties are being increased or decreased, you would make adjustments to your index. And this index will be a guide for you to measure your performance. So let's say in year one, the property price index was 110 points. And in the year two, based on analysis that you do, you see that it's 108. It gives you a direct, immediate views of how your investment is performing. The second way we resort to measure performance is through valuations. So we do valuation report. We should not forget one important thing is that, and this I'm mentioning that, I mention that regularly, I'm saying it again, when you read a valuation report, for God's sake, don't just go on the last page and just read the value. Oh, my client has come to see me. He has made an application of 10 million rupees as a loan, and the valuer has assigned a value of 15 million. So the guy is fine. You can give him his loan. There is a report that goes in details. What are the risks attached to these properties? That's why our report, I'm not here to be defending Prime Pillar's way of doing things. I know we are unique. We are not blowing our trumpet. That's a truth. That's a fact. We spend time. Our report is 20, 30 pages. We need to analyze each bit one by one to know why we give so much time in assessing those values. So valuation would be another possibilities of measuring your performance. And having said so, Cedric, it would be important at this stage for you to just give a quick brief that when we're still in confinement, but we're working now with whatever permit we have. That's another debate. During the confinement, we have been very, very aggressive in terms of communication to our clients, in terms of updates that we have been sharing with them. And two of these updates comes from RICS and IBSC. If you could probably just give a quick brief so that those who have not received or who's got the note and haven't paid attention yet, that they spend some time on it, because since we resumed work last week, our reports has changed, taking into consideration those uncertainties.
Okay, thank you, Kentish. Yes, the IBSC and the RICS, the royal body that gives us our chartership and right to operate as valuers, talk a lot about COVID-19. COVID-19 c'est devenu quelque chose de tellement d'important dans le monde, et que les effets de COVID, c'est tellement grave. Beaucoup de personnes, que même la RICS ou le IBSC vous dit carrément, vous devez faire extrêmement attention sur les évaluations. Et en tant qu'évaluateur, je pense que c'est de nous pousser à faire comprendre aux clients que nous sommes en train de vivre une situation jamais vue. Les conditions du marché même ne seront plus pareilles comme ce que ça a été pendant les dernières années, et que la façon de vivre qu'on a tellement, qu'on a appris à vivre d'une certaine façon pendant tellement de temps, que ça va changer. Et ce changement-là aura des effets sur pas mal de choses, incluant spécifiquement le real estate market en général. Donc, la ICS, effectivement, parle de ce uncertainty, et je pense que c'est quelque chose que beaucoup de personnes doivent comprendre. On a tellement de uncertainty, on parle beaucoup de ce qui va se passer, sans vraiment avoir des chiffres exacts pour pouvoir dire oui, on s'attend vraiment à voir ça arriver, on s'attend à voir ça arriver. On parle du new normal, on ne sait pas c'est quoi le new normal, on ne sait pas qu'est-ce qui va changer, mais c'est principalement de laisser savoir aux gens que on s'attend à avoir des changements. Il y aura des gros changements qui vont venir dans le futur, et aussi de dire et de raise the awareness quand on parle de real estate et de l'évaluation en général. Kentish, tu as d'autres points dessus là, toi?
I have one more, not one, various points that I need to raise. J'ai parlé de indices, j'ai parlé d'évaluation. Maintenant, c'est important de comprendre que comparable properties also peuvent être utilisées to measure performance. Il ne faut pas oublier que this is last but not least, the most common way to derive the value of a given property, that is to look at the value of comparable properties. Il ne faut pas oublier que cette méthodologie, c'est gratuit, ça. Tu n'as qu'à faire des recherches au niveau du registrar et tu vas avoir les prix des comparables. Mais allons dire maintenant, tu vas au registrar et tu vois que, voilà, à 4 bonnes, j'ai trouvé un terrain qui a été vendu à, allons dire, 20 000 roupies la toile, parce que dans la descriptif, dans la désignation, c'est écrit une portion de terrain située dans le quartier de Plaine-Villiers, lieu dit 4 bonnes. OK, c'est 20 000. Et tu vois, un autre tax deed qui a été transcrit, il te dit toujours lieu dit 4 bonnes, avec tout le respect que je dois avec les gens qui habitent là-bas, et que ça se trouve à, je ne sais pas moi, Trèfle-aux-Îles, Trèfle 4 bonnes. Donc, le prix portoise à Trèfle 4 bonnes ne peut pas être comparé avec le prix portoise dans une autre région de 4 bonnes, which is primary. So, using comparative evidence to compare properties as a performance, you should be able to compare like with like. Now, performance can also be measured through equity growth from appreciation, ce qu'on appelle dans le jargon, basically, capital appreciation. L'autre possibilité, c'est equity growth from your cash flow. Il ne faut pas oublier que there are investors buying for cash flow and not necessarily for capital appreciation. I have purchased a property on the Royal Road in Cactobone. I don't know who is operating, Pizza Hut is operating, a hairdresser is operating, but I'm receiving a decent rental. So for me, the value of the property is not that important rather than the income I'm deriving from it. So the equity growth, not to forget one important thing. When you make a lease agreement with your tenant, there is a clause that my yearly rental would be increased by, let's say, 3% or CPI, whichever is the highest. So every year you have an increase, and this increase technically should not bring rental yield compression, but if it does, you should reconsider your investment. So this is another aspect. Another important thing is the operating ratios. Property investment is a long-term game. You don't buy a property because you know, like you go to the casino and you bet 1,000 rupees to get I don't know how much. It's a long-term game. So over a period of time, both the positive cash flows as well as the operating expenses of holding on to that property both change. It's dynamic. That's what I mentioned initially. If your property is not maintained well, it becomes old, wear and tear. Now, if there is wear and tear and you're spending 20,000 rupees on that unit per month because the ceiling is leaking, the door is not closing, having problems with electricity and whatnot, and your rental is decreasing, why should we keep that property? So analyzing that operating expenses as a ratio defines the performance.
Okay.
Before I close on this chapter, probably it's important to know that we have basically three types of investors. There is what we call the speculators, which we see regularly, which will be less and less, I guess, in the coming days, in a certain way, but more and more for those who got that first to purchase. You've got the end users, because I buy because I use it myself. Now, becoming the end users, I will try to buy properties which is functional to me, not functional to others. And there is what we call the long-term investors. So you may proceed with the other part of the presentation.